on
We've
Hurricane
seen
Matthew.
hurricane-force winds along the coast over 100 miles per hour. This is still a 120-mile-an-hour storm. While the eye has not made direct landfall, it still has time to make a direct hit. And as we've seen, it's wobbled. We are very concerned about storm surge, and the worst effects are still likely to come. If you remember, the Jacksonville area has a lot of low-lying area, especially Nassau County. We're very focused on Jacksonville. There's potential for significant flooding there. Damage assessments are just coming in from South Florida. They will continue as the storm passes each county. And I've been reaching out to people in each county as it passes. Florida Fish and Wildlife has 90 officers now performing search and rescue operations and another 70 on standby. So what we're doing is, as the storm passes, we're sending them in to do assessments, both property and people. We did the same thing after Ermine. They have not reported any issues yet. Highway Patrol has 150 troopers on public safety patrol right now and another 100 on standby. They have not reported any issues yet. We have over 145 shelters open. We have over 22,000 people in our shelters. I checked all night, and we don't have any major traffic or road issues at this time. We have been checking, and that's one thing that I think that worked with our evacuation so far, is that we kept our roads open. All major roads and interstates in Florida are open. In Miami and West Palm, where the storm has already passed, Department of Transportation is out investigating the roads, and there are no issues to report at this time. All toll suspensions remain in effect. Tolls will remain suspended for at least 24 hours after the storm passes each county. We denied MDX's request to reinstate tolls this morning. Department of Transportation will continue to review this on a county-by-county basis. Some individual gas stations are reporting shortages, fuel shortages, but these stations are quickly being refueled, and fuel is readily available across the state. We don't have fuel issues. The current fuel supply in the state is at least 5 days, even if all the ports are temporarily closed. So right now we have plenty of fuel in the state. About 600,000 homes are without power. The number is going to fluctuate, but some utility companies have already told me they are already restoring power in Miami and Palm Beach counties. About half the power is out in Martin County, about a third in St. Lucie County. As of now, Florida Power & Light has restored about 27% of their initial outages, which was over 580,000. Right now, they have about 500,000 homes without power. But look, we're only halfway through. We're going to have more outages. More outages are going to come. I will be speaking with the utility companies this morning to talk about their plans to start restoring power. It's really important that we get power restored as quickly as we can. Last night, I directed the state to begin setting up housing for utility crews in strategic areas across the state, just to make sure as we get all these individuals in that we can get them housed and they can get to work. They don't have to worry about where they're staying. We already have Camp Blanding in Northeast Florida up and running, which can house over 1,000 utility workers and their trucks. We have 3 other locations that are being prepared should the utility companies need it. We're going to do everything we can to make sure the utility companies get power back on as quickly as possible. These resources will be available to any utility. Power, let's remember this, power saves lives. We want everybody to get their power back as quickly as possible. Damage assessments are just coming in areas where the storm has passed. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers are currently conducting their assessments of Lake Okeechobee. The South Florida Water Management District is still holding water north to prevent more water from going into the lake. This morning, the National Guard will conduct assessments in South Florida. Once they complete any recovery missions, they will join the troops deployed in Central and North Florida. So what's going to happen is, as we solve problems in the South, we'll just keep moving all these assets up north. We won't be sending them home. Our goal is to keep solving problems. I've spoken to quite a few people this morning. Martin County Sheriff, he said all roads will be cleared in Martin County without any obstruction within 2 hours. Their emergency management director says they have no major issues. Palm Beach Sheriff, no report issues at this time. I talked to the Palm Beach mayor, and she reports no issues. St. Lucie Sheriff, they're reopening beaches and have no major road closures. Their emergency management director says no major issues, and the evacuations were very effective. That's what I heard from a lot of people. The evacuations worked. Indian River Sheriff, they are focused on power outages, clearing beaches and bridges, and have not reported any structural damage. The Brevard Sheriff said they're just now getting out. It's not completely out of Brevard, and then he's starting to assess the damage. So they have a lot of power outages. I made the following request to the federal government: food, water, tarps, generators, water pumps, search and rescue teams, hazmat assessment teams, cots, blankets, food distribution vehicles, helicopters. At this time, they are supporting all of our requests. If our local communities need more resources, we will continue to make requests to FEMA. We've also received offers of support from many states: Oregon, Alabama, Texas, Massachusetts, Indiana, California, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Mississippi, and we're very appreciative of their support. Let's remember, the storm has only passed half our state, so this is not over. Text FL Prepares, one word, FL Prepares, to 888-777 for updates from the State Emergency Response Team. FL Prepares is one word. If you have a smartphone, please enable it in your settings to receive emergency messages. The National Hurricane Center will be pushing life-saving messages out during the storm. You'll hear a loud noise. It's loud. Do not ignore them. They could save your life. Now, everybody needs to remember, we focused very much on being prepared before the storm hit, and we still have the storm hitting us, but don't touch down power lines. Don't get close to down power lines. If you have a down power line, call your utility company to let them know there's a down power line. Call your sheriff. Do not touch down power lines. They can kill you. Don't go into standing water. There's no reason to go into standing water. While the storm's still on, don't go outside. I mean, there's going to be debris. Think about it. We have over 100-mile-an-hour winds still hitting us in some areas. If a tornado approaches, move into an interior room of your house. Generators. When we have the power outage, a lot of people are going to use generators. Do not use them inside the house. Only use a generator outside the home. Keep it outside. If you've evacuated, don't return until they tell you you can evacuate. I was talking to the St. Lucie Sheriff, and he said both North and South Hutchinson Island was open now. But don't go back until you know until it's open, and they said it's open. The most important thing is protect every family. We all have families. I love my wife, my daughters, my grandchildren, my son-in-law. I don't want anything to happen to them. I don't want anything to happen to anybody's family or anybody's friends. So be careful. If you have any concerns about your safety, call your sheriff. They are staffed, and they're there to help you. At 11:15, I will be getting a briefing for the National Hurricane Center and speaking again to all the Florida counties. At some point today, we will go out and start assessing damage around the state. I'll be glad to answer any questions anybody has.
Governor, have you heard anything from St. Lucie County officials? There was a report of a possible hurricane-related fatality there. Have you talked to anyone there? Have you heard anything about this?
I've talked to both in St. Lucie. I've talked to both the sheriff and the emergency management director. I have not heard that.
Was there any fatalities?
I've not heard any fatalities. My goal, man, look, I hope everybody stays safe, and we have none. I mean, I don't want any family. Just can't imagine.
Do you have any? One of your emergency directors said that there's two missions going on, below Brevard and above Brevard. And below Brevard, you're starting to deal with recovery. Can you talk about the time frame for restoring power to the southern part of the state?
Well, I'll be talking to utilities today, and we have a report that will talk about how many homes are without power. So we know that FP&L has already restored, I think it's over 150 homes already, 150,000 homes already. So we have a constant report of how many homes are without power And then we'll be talking to them, what do you need? Is there anything the state can help you with? And then as my goal is, as any utility finishes up their restoration, then we use those assets to help any other utility in the state. So I know that Florida Power and Light has brought in over 10,000 people. I know Duke has brought in people. The municipals and co-ops have brought in people. So my goal is let's share resources. Let's find out where our problems are, and let's get everybody there. On top of that, just like what we did with Irmine, if we can help through, whether it's the Army Corps of Engineers or through its DOT, whatever we can help them deal with debris that helps them get the power back on, we'll do that also.
Can people be thinking about returning later today to most of the areas that evacuated, or do you think it'll be a few days?
I think it's up to local officials. We're gonna have to assess the damage. We're gonna have to see what's happened to any of our roads. Right now, I've been in talking to DOT, our State Department of Transportation, and I think Jim's not in here, but all the major roads are open. But let's remember, it could be the worst part of this is still to come. I mean, just look. I'm really concerned about Jacksonville, and I'm really concerned about Nassau because, over 10 foot of storm surge. On top of that, the waves. And if you look at that's a lot. That's a very low lying area. On top of the fact that we still have the potential for a direct hit, and we're seeing 100-mile-an-hour winds.
A lot of folks on the East Coast did evacuate, but many did not and rode out this storm. Does the fact the storm turned and they're okay now indicate that maybe they shouldn't be concerned in the future? Does it concern you that maybe they think that at this point?
Yeah, I think everybody, first off, you have to take every storm seriously. And let's remember, we're not through this yet. We're still just doing assessments of what happened. We still have about half the state to go through. We're going to see, and we're going to have our worst storm surge. I mean, look, think about it, 10 feet. And on top of that, the waves. So, and just remember, if you follow the map on the St. Johns River, we're going to have a lot of storm surge in St. Johns River, and we're also going to have a lot of storm surge that's going to come in because Nassau is very low lying. So we'll find. I hope no one dies. I mean, that's my goal is that everybody evacuated with that it should have, and that they learn that they did the right thing. We have 22,000 people in shelters. I don't know if we might have more people in shelters tonight. We're going to see how much wind damage we have this morning. I mean, it's just getting light in the south, and we're not through.
All right, you have been watching live a briefing from Florida Governor Rick Scott. The first time we hear from him this morning, a big message is that this is not over yet. And among the items that are concerning to the governor right now, of course, the storm surge, but also the Jacksonville area. Because of the trajectory of the storm, he says there's still a potential for a direct hit.
Yeah, there absolutely is. And right now, what the governor is also explaining is how emergency crews are making their way up from South Florida, and then as this storm marches up the East Coast, those crews will continue to follow it up, checking on people, checking on property, trying to see exactly how much damage was done and who needs the most help. And he did say that FEMA is being completely cooperative, so we're talking food, water, tarps, generators, pumps, vehicles, anything that we need here in the state of Florida has been approved. So that is some very good news.
And also getting a lot of help from agencies from other states, especially when it comes to restoring power. We know more than 500,000, I believe he said more than 600,000 Floridians right now without power. And it's not just FPL, it's all the different utilities. So they're getting help from Texas, he mentioned Louisiana, from many, many states, as far as Oregon even. Utility crews coming here to help our crews in Florida to restore power. But other things worth mentioning from the governor's briefing, which continues right now, is that all major roads are open in the state of Florida. Also, the suspension of tolls, that remains in effect.
Even though Miami tried to put them back into effect.
That's right. Miami-Dade Transit tried to put the tolls back into effect and to start charging people to use the toll roads there. The governor said no. He wants to keep the suspensions in effect for 24 hours after the storm passes through.
And also, big effort. There's still hundreds of thousands of homes without power this morning. And the governor says power saves lives. So crews are making their way into the Sunshine State, not too sunny right now on the East Coast, to help get the power back on in those homes.
That's true. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with more as we continue to cover Hurricane Matthew this morning here on News Channel 8.
I'm really worried about this.